BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow, it's pretty great.
Deniece Williams, a famous singer, is in the news again. She recently spoke out about some terrible rumors about her life. What are these awful rumors? How do they affect her?
How difficult was it for you to focus on your music and still have your heart?
Why is she choosing to share this information now? Let's learn more about Deniece and her story.
My mom.
Your mother.
You know, my mom did not want to sing. You know, she was too shy. She didn't have the ham factor.
Deniece Williams was born June Deniece Chandler in Gary, Indiana. Growing up in this city, she had a dream of doing something special with her life. Deniece started singing when she was just 3 years old. Her aunt once heard her singing on the porch and thought she had a talent. Deniece sang a song called "There's a Man Waiting Way Beyond the Clouds" in church, and from then on, she joined the children's choir. This was the beginning of her love for music.
My mom would be in the shower and she'd be singing and I would try to sing along with her. And then she'd do this little skippy thing. And I'd say, and so most of what you hear is my mother.
Deniece had a wonderful childhood, filled with friends and school activities. She loved going to school and hanging out with her best friend. Deniece also spent a lot of time with her grandmother, who raised her in a very religious household. Church was a big part of her life. She spent every Sunday in church and went to choir rehearsals during the week.
And I started in the church choir when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
You know.
Deniece went to Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. She wanted to become a registered nurse and an anesthetist. However, after a year and a half, she decided to leave school. Deniece later said, "You have to be a good student to be in college," and I wasn't. It's a common feeling for many people who try college and realize it's not for them. Even though she left school, Deniece's story was just beginning. She started to explore her passion for music while she was still in college. This led her down a different path than she had originally planned. Deniece's music career began in the late 1960s. While she was still a college student, she got a part-time job singing at a club called Casino Royal. She loved it. Singing made her happy, and she found it was a lot of fun. This was the start of her journey into the music world. But she also had to support herself, so she worked at a telephone company and as a ward clerk at Chicago Mercy Hospital. Balancing work and singing wasn't easy, but Deniece was determined to make it in music. Deniece had a cousin named John who lived in Detroit. He would come to visit her during the summer, and he often talked about his experiences with music stars. He once claimed he knew Stevie Wonder, which made Deniece laugh. She told him to stop lying. However, John's connection to Stevie would change Deniece's life forever. After some time, John helped her get an audition to sing with Stevie Wonder. Deniece was unsure about auditioning, but her cousin encouraged her. To her surprise, she was one of 3 people chosen to be a background singer for Stevie. Working with Stevie was a dream come true for Deniece. She admired his music and was excited to travel and perform with him. During this time, she realized that her poetry could turn into songs. She learned that combining poetry with music creates beautiful songs. Stevie became a mentor for Deniece, and she spent 3.5 years with him, soaking up all the knowledge she could. This group helped Stevie create some of his best songs, and you can hear her beautiful voice on his albums like Talking Book, Fulfillingness First Finale, and Songs in the Key of Life. She also sang on other artists' albums, such as Syreeta Wright's 1974 album, Stevie Wonder Presents, Syreeta, Minnie Riperton's Perfect Angel, and Roberta Flack's albums, Feel Like Making Love and Blue Lights in the Basement. After leaving Stevie, she began working with another great artist, Roberta Flack. Deniece loved working with Roberta because they had different styles, but both were wonderful in their own ways. Every day, Roberta would ask Deniece, "What are you going to do?" Deniece would reply, "I don't know, but it's going to be good." This positive attitude helped her move forward in her career. Deniece also admired Johnny Mathis, another legendary artist. She first sang with him when she was about 10 years old. She humorously told Johnny that she had been practicing to sing with him for years, just waiting for the chance. Singing with her childhood idols was a highlight of her life, and it showed how far she had come in her career. Deniece also worked with Johnny Mathis on Without Us, the theme song for the popular sitcom Family Ties. which started in September 1982.
I bet we've been together for a million years.
One of her biggest hits was a duet with Johnny called Too Much, Too Little, Too Late. This song reached #1 on several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. In 1978, she and Johnny released a duet album called That's What Friends Are For. Critics praised this album as well. Dennis Hunt from the Los Angeles Times noted that their collaboration brought new life to Johnny's career in pop and R&B music. The album also did well, reaching #14 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart and #19 on the Billboard 200. It was also certified gold in the US. Another important moment in Deniece's life was when she started singing with Minnie Riperton. When Deniece was just 16, a neighbor brought her an album and said, "You sound like this girl." The singer was Minnie Riperton. Deniece loved Minnie's music and sang along with her songs at home. Later, she got the chance to work on Minnie's project called Perfect Angel as a background singer. This was a big deal for Deniece, who admired Minnie so much.
BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow. It's pretty great.
One of Deniece's biggest dreams was to sing with Earth, Wind and Fire, a group she admired while growing up. She loved their song Keep Your Head to the Sky and many others. It was a dream come true when she joined Maurice White's production label, which worked with Earth, Wind and Fire. Singing with them was a magical experience for Deniece, who had listened to their music since she was a child. She signed a deal with Columbia Records and a production company called Kalimba, which was founded by Maurice White and Charles Stepney. With their help, Deniece created her first solo album called This Is Deniece, released in 1976. The album was a success, reaching #3 on the R&B chart and #33 on the Billboard 200. It was also certified gold in the United States, meaning it sold a lot of copies. One of the popular songs from the album was Free, which climbed to #1 on the UK singles chart and did well on the Billboard Hot R&B Songs and Hot 100 charts. Another song, That's What Friends Are For, also did well, reaching #8 on the UK singles chart.
That's what friends are for.
Sadly, just before This Is Deniece was released, Charles Stepney passed away. After that, Maurice White took over and produced Deniece's second album, Songbird, released in 1977. This album did well too, reaching #23 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart. Music critics praised it for showcasing Deniece's amazing 4-octave singing range. John Rockwell from the New York Times called Songbird a most appealing album for its variety and skillful singing. One of the songs, Baby Baby My Love's All For You, also became popular, reaching #13 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart. One of her famous songs is a cover of You're All I Need to Get By, originally sung by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. This song became a hit, reaching #1, 5 on the RPM Canadian Adult Contemporary Songs chart, number 10 on the US Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart, and #16 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary Songs chart. Her version showcased her incredible voice and ability to connect with the audience. One of her most memorable songs is Silly, which came from a very personal place. Deniece was going through a rough time. She was in a relationship that wasn't working out, and it broke her heart. One night around 3 a.m., she was crying and feeling all kinds of emotions. In the middle of this, the idea for Silly came to her.
Making a fool of me.
The words "silly of me" kept popping into her head, and she knew she had to write a song about it. Even though it was late, she called her co-writer and said, "Turn on the recorder. I need to get this down before I forget it." At first, Deniece wasn't sure if the song would ever be part of a project, but she felt like she had to get it out of her system. So she and her co-writer worked on it, and Silly was born out of her experience of loving someone who wasn't treating her right. The song became a big hit, reaching #1, 11 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart, and is still loved by many people today. Deniece has also had success with other songs, like the upbeat hit Let's Hear It for the Boy. But getting that song recorded was a bit of a challenge. She was in the studio with legendary producer George Duke, and they got a call about a song for a movie soundtrack. Deniece wanted to do it because it was a fun, up-tempo song, but George wasn't interested. He didn't think it fit her style since she was known for ballads.
Let's hear it from the boy.
Deniece didn't give up. She knew the song would be a hit, so she went to George's wife, Corinne, for help. She told Corinne, "George won't do this song with me, but I know it's going to be a hit." Corinne worked her magic, and a week later, Deniece and George were in the studio recording "Let's Hear It for the Boy." The song became a massive hit, selling millions of copies and cementing Deniece's place in pop music history. The title track became a massive hit, reaching #1 on several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. This song was also part of the movie Footloose, making it even more popular. Even though George still jokes that he doesn't like the song, Deniece has no regrets. She often tells people, "If you don't like it, send me your producer check." The success of "Let's Hear It for the Boy" brought her a lot of joy, and she's proud of it. Deniece released her album called Deniece. This album was a big success, hitting #1, 5 on the Top Soul Albums chart, and #20 on the Billboard 200. Robert Christgau from The Village Voice praised Deniece for her clear voice and range, noting how her collaboration with Tom Bell helped her music stand out. The album's charm lay in its romantic lyrics and the emotional delivery Deniece provided. One of her notable singles from this time was a cover of "It's Gonna Take a Miracle."
Now that you set me free, it's gonna take a miracle.
This song topped the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart and reached #1, 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Deniece released her 7th studio album called "I'm So Proud." It reached #1, 10 on the Billboard Top R&B Albums chart. Connie Johnson from the Los Angeles Times described it as fresh and of high quality. This album was even nominated for a Grammy.
I come from a Pentecostal background. My grandfather had a little storefront church. In fact, it is so cute because my grandfather's church probably never had over 25 members in his church.
Deniece's journey wasn't always easy. She grew up in a strict Pentecostal background, particularly in the Church of God in Christ. This church had very strong beliefs about music, and they often viewed popular music as the devil's music. This made things difficult for Deniece when she started to pursue her singing career. When Deniece recorded her first local songs, her church community was upset. They felt that by singing these songs, she was going against their teachings. The church leaders decided to take action. They told her that she could no longer sing in the choir or participate in church activities until she stopped making those kinds of music. This decision hurt Deniece deeply. She had been raised in the church and was a part of it for about 17 years. Going to church on Sundays and singing in the choir was all she knew. When they stripped her of her choir membership, it felt like losing a part of herself. She loved singing and being part of the church community, so being pushed away was very painful for her. However, there was one church mother who saw things differently. This kind lady told Deniece that there was nothing wrong with her songs. She explained that Deniece was singing about love, not anything inappropriate. This mother's support meant a lot to Deniece during such a tough time. It showed her that not everyone agreed with the harsh judgment from the church.
I told my mom, and I was like, oh, close to tears, and Mom said, don't worry about it.
Despite this support, Deniece felt the weight of condemnation from the church. They preached a message of fear rather than love. Over time, Deniece learned about God's love and forgiveness, which was a turning point in her life. She discovered that God's message was not just about rules and regulations, but about love and acceptance too. Looking back, Deniece understands that her church was trying to protect her. They worried about her future, especially when she started working with famous musicians like Stevie Wonder. They didn't know if she would be safe or if she might get lost in the music world. Their fear often came from a lack of understanding of God's true message, which is about love and grace. Deniece believes that her home church didn't mean to hurt her. They thought they were looking out for her best interests, but she felt that they focused too much on what she shouldn't do instead of what she could do. They missed the point that God gave her the gift of music to share with the world. Deniece has also had a full personal life, with ups and downs, just like anyone else. Deniece has been married 3 times and is a mother to 4 sons. Her first marriage was to her middle school sweetheart, Kendrick Williams. They got married in 1971 when she was quite young, and they were together for 4 years. During their marriage, they had 2 sons, Kendrick Jr., who was born in 1972, and Kevin, born in 1973. Even after they divorced in 1975, Deniece kept the last name Williams and used it professionally throughout her career. After her first marriage ended, Deniece moved to California to pursue her music career, and it worked out well for her. She became very successful with her smooth and beautiful voice, making her a popular artist in the 1970s and 1980s. But while her career was rising, her personal life was still complicated.
How difficult was it for you to focus on your music and still have your heart?
In May 1981, Deniece married again. This time, she tied the knot with an actor and minister named Christopher Joy. Their marriage, however, didn't last long. They separated in August 1982, just over a year after getting married, and divorced soon after. Even though it was a short-lived marriage, Deniece kept moving forward, balancing her music career and personal life. Deniece's third marriage came a few years later, in 1986, when she married a man named Brad Westering. During this marriage, Deniece and Brad had 2 more sons together. Their first son, Forrest, was born in 1988, and their second son, Logan, came into the world not long after. Sadly, Deniece and Brad's marriage ended in 1993, but she continued to raise her 4 sons while focusing on her music and faith. Throughout her life, Deniece Williams has had to juggle the challenges of being a mother, wife, and successful musician. She has talked about how her faith in God has helped her through tough times. Her strong belief in her faith has always been a big part of her life, and she often sings about her love for God in her music.
I've got is a fire inside my soul, spreading like the wind.
Over the years, Deniece was nominated 13 times for Grammy Awards, and she won 4 times. The special moment for Deniece was performing Silly at the BET Awards with singer Monica. Monica had recorded her version of Silly, produced by Missy Elliott. When Deniece first heard the cover, she was thrilled. She loved how Monica and Missy had brought new life to her song. During the BET Awards, Monica performed her version of Silly, and then Deniece came out and sang the original. It was an incredible experience for her to perform her classic song alongside a new generation of talent. Over the years, she has moved from one genre to another, mixing gospel, pop, R&B, and jazz to create a unique sound. After a break of 10 years, Deniece found herself back in the studio, and she calls it a God thing. During an interview with a source, she shared about how she was in Los Angeles with her son Kevin, who had a meeting with a producer named Neil Gatos. Deniece didn't expect anything special that day. She just sat in the corner while her son and the producer talked. But then Neil came over to her and said, "Miss Williams, I love your music and voice." He had some tracks he wanted her to listen to. At first, the music didn't grab her. But when the second track played, a thought popped into her head. When you love somebody, life is like a party, and you dance. Neil loved that line, and soon they started working on the song together. She gave him some lyrics, and he put together a demo of the song. Deniece wasn't thinking much about it after that, but a month later, she played the song for some friends and their kids. To her surprise, the kids started dancing and singing along. They really liked it, which made Deniece realize the song had potential. She called Neil and told him about the kids' reaction, and that's when things started rolling. Neil had connections in the music industry, and soon they were making plans to release the song. Now she's working on a new project that includes jazz, pop, R&B, and gospel music, which she says will give fans a full view of who she is as an artist. The project will be called Gemini. Deniece also talked about how blessed she feels in life, despite the challenges she has faced. She knows people who are no longer here, and she feels grateful for what she has. She said that when she starts feeling down, she reminds herself of her blessings: her health, a home, food, a car. She believes that focusing on what's good in your life can help push away depression. There's always someone who has it worse than you, she said, and that's what keeps her grounded. She quoted a verse that helps her. "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." She believes it's important to make a decision to be thankful, even when things aren't perfect. She trusts that everything happening in her life is allowed by God, and if she keeps a positive attitude, things can turn around. On June 30th, 2021, she was honored as one of the first ever inductees into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame. Williams was, on May 16th, 2023, also bestowed with the keys to the city of Kingston, Jamaica. Deniece's story is one of hope, faith, and resilience. Even after years away from the spotlight, she's back, doing what she loves, making music and inspiring others.